Hello everyone! As you're probably aware, I typically don't review a WWE pay-per-view, or any pay-per-view for that matter, the night it happens. I typically wait a day or two, see how they follow it up, and then post my comments, but since I have a few other videos lined up this week, I figured, hey, what the hell, I'll just do it the night of. So, we had WWE Clash of Champions tonight. I also watched earlier today Ring of Honor Final Battle 2017. I want to review that as well, but I'll save that for after I post my feelings on Clash of Champions. So with all that said, let's just jump right into it. WWE Clash of Champions, the final WWE pay-per-view of 2017, and a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, which is kind of funny given that it was a SmackDown pay-per-view that got me to pretty much give up on watching the WWE every single week. I have not watched, to be perfectly honest, I've watched very little wrestling in the month of December, even shows I like. The only weekly show I've watched is NXT. Everything else I've kind of, with Christmas shopping and running errands and getting ready for the holidays and everything, I just haven't had enough time to really watch much. I didn't even watch the full World Tag League. I just watched the finals, and I figured that would be enough. And so yeah, my point is I've watched very little wrestling, but I did watch two shows today, and it's really funny how not up to speed I am on what SmackDown is doing, because there was a lot on this show. I was like, wait, what? When did this start? Wait, what? What's going on here? So that's a really fascinating thing to do. Just not watch WWE for a month and then see how much it's changed when you watch the pay-per-view on the network. So that can make for a fun little experiment. But anyway, the show itself, I thought it started off very strongly with two pretty solid championship matches. We opened up with the United States Championship triple threat match. Baron Corbin defending against Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, the glorious one. Actually a pretty exciting and well put together three-way. At first it started going into the typical throw one man out and then have a one-on-one, then throw the other guy out and switch things up, and just a constant series of one-on-one fights until the match is over. And it started off that way, but then it developed into this really nice action-packed little match where it kind of kept me guessing on what the finish was going to be. I was like, oh, is Bobby going to win the title? Is Corbin going to retain? Is Ziggler going to win the belt? And ultimately, Ziggler did win the belt, but overall, it was actually a pretty solid and exciting match, and the fans were really into Bobby Roode. So maybe him as a babyface actually works. I don't know, but I thought this was a really good opener and a good way to start the show. Then we got the four-way tag team match for the SmackDown Championships. It was the Usos defending against the New Day, defending against Rusev and Aiden English, a pairing I had never seen before, and Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin being the fourth team. And I gotta say, the pre-match antics, specifically that of Aiden English and Rusev, were gold. I've always liked Aiden English, and his whole, I'm the Shakespeare of SmackDown, or whatever that line was. That whole bit, I think, is great, and the Rusev Day thing, which is a great indicator that I've not been keeping up on SmackDown, because I've seen the Rusev Day thing float around on social media, but I had absolutely no idea what everybody was talking about. I would see it pop up every now and then. I'm like, Rusev Day, what is that? I don't care. You know what? I don't even care what it is. But after watching it here and seeing how positively the crowd reacted to it, now over these two heels were, I was like, maybe they got something here. I don't know. Maybe this is an offbeat, kooky pairing that could actually work. But yeah, I was amazed at how over they were, specifically Rusev, and it's like maybe they can salvage him. Maybe they can bring him from the brink of destruction and actually give him a solid career with something goofy. But it's better than giving him a dance gimmick, which is what they typically do with brutes after they've emasculated them. Then it's like, all right, you dance now. Dance, monkey, dance! But anyway, I think the fact that Rusev was so insanely over, which kind of surprised me to the point that even the New Day was getting booed whenever it looked like Rusev was going to win, and then he didn't. And New Day would be the ones to break it up. I think Rusev was so amazingly over that I kind of enjoyed this match for that reason. I mean, if the crowd didn't react to Rusev the way they did, I probably would have reacted to it in it's just a typical four-way tag with people bumping all over the place, and that's pretty much all it was. But because Rusev was so over, it kind of gave the match a clear-cut babyface to root for to win the thing, and I was legit a little disappointed when he lost. So that's kind of amazing that a pairing I'd never seen before kind of won me over instantly, and I wanted to see them win the tag titles. But the Usos retained, which I think is a good move for now. As I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of putting belts on the line in championship or in fatal 4-way, 3-ways, and 5-ways, 6-ways, all that stuff. So I would prefer the champions to retain here and then maybe face English and Rusev down the road at some point in a much bigger setting. So overall, I thought this match was pretty entertaining, action-packed. I also like the New Day's whole pre-match bit coming out with pancakes. How long have they been doing that? I don't know. It was just, they've got pancakes now. Isn't that funny? That's funny. I want pancakes. Can I have pancakes? No, I can't because I'm dieting and I've been cutting down on the foods like pancakes, unfortunately. But anyway, I enjoyed the whole 4-way tag. I thought it was great. Then this is where the show started to fall apart. Charlotte versus Natalya in a lumberjack match, even though, as Lance Storm pointed out on Twitter, and he's correct, the term lumberjill is actually correct. It's a female lumberjack, so it's actually a correct term. So why they keep calling them lumberjacks instead of lumberjills, I don't know. Whatever, I'm not going to argue, whatever. It's just Lance Storm is right, basically, is my point. But I do not like lumberjack matches. I have said that a million times. I hate that the heels all attack the face for no reason. I hate that all the faces attack the heel for very little reason. Having both sides united makes no sense to me. And I'm just not a fan of the gimmick. I've never been a fan of it. And the only time those matches work for me is if it's like the fans' revenge matches that like TNA did or Lucha Underground did, where it's the fans as the lumberjacks and they're getting revenge on the heel. And so it's like the heel getting his comeuppance. Or if the heel bought off all the lumberjacks and the face is screwed, I could see that working, but the whole like heel face divide and you're either on one side or the other, I've never been a fan of that. It's just too silly to me. Because really, at the end of the day, what is Carmella's Money in the Bank? What does she care whether Charlotte has it or whether Natalya has it? Unless there's like a clear cut divide in talent between the two, it's like, I mean, would you rather win it off the New England Patriots or the Cleveland Browns? Who would you rather try to win the belt from? So I could get it if there was that level of divide there, but they typically portray Natalya as a competent athlete, and they portray Charlotte as a competent athlete, so it really doesn't matter which one you face. So what does she care whether Charlotte wins or not, you know? And I haven't talked about them yet, but this new group, the Riot Squad, Ruby Riot and what's her name? Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan. That group is weird because those girls do not look like they match at all whatsoever. It looks like, and I made the comment on Twitter, it looks like an old TV show from like the 90s where you'd see like a group of friends and they'd all be like these different archetypes. You've got Liv Morgan, who's the hot girl. You got Sarah Logan, who's the tomboy. You've got Ruby Riot, who's the offbeat weirdo or something. And, you know, in these shows, like Saved by the Bell or Salute Your Shorts, to give another example, like in that show, the three girls, you had the athlete, you had the snob, and you had the activist. And I'm like, there's no way that those three girls would be friends. At best, they would tolerate each other. There's no way they'd be friends, though. And in Saved by the Bell, you've got the athletic jock, the girl-chasing handsome dude, and the uber nerd. There's no way that all three of them would be friends. There's no way. But, you know, 90s TV, they are. So I kind of got that feeling while looking at that group. I'm like, I feel like you three should not be friends. Like, I should not be allies because you don't look like you belong together. But, you know, maybe that's just me. I did not enjoy this match. I felt like it dragged on too long, and the lumberjack gimmick just got in the way, as it typically does. And I'm just not a fan of these type of matches. That's just how it is. Natalya cut a promo post-match, which almost indicated that she was going to walk out or something. It sounded like she was turning heel, even though she was already a heel. So I don't know where they're going with that. I don't really care. Charlotte retained, obviously. And that's really all there is to say. That's just all there is. Then we got a squash match. The artists formerly known as the Wyatt family, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, now being called the Bludgeon Brothers, basically killed some bitches. They took the Fashion Police to town and basically destroyed them. You know my feelings on Tyler Breeze. I think he's way more talented than what he's been given, but if you want to make this team like a big, dangerous, scary bruiser tag team, letting them kill a guy or kill a couple of guys in under a minute, I think is a good way to do that. So I like that they gave them a squash match, and that's a good kind of in-between filler match to kind of, allow kind of a popcorn break, but also establish like this big bruiser tag team as someone dangerous. So I was fine with it. I kind of, much to my surprise, I actually kind of like Harper and Rowan's new look. I kind of like the whole presentation. It's like, they're almost like a whole new team almost, the way they look and the way they're presented. Is WWE actually trying to pass them off as like a brand new team or something, and trying to like not disregard the Wyatt family stuff, but like kind of not talk about it and hope that people forget about it? Like, how are they approaching that? But because again, I haven't watched it in forever, so I don't really know. But it was what it was, and it was fine. Then we got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura, with Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan as dual special guest referees, and if Owens and Zayn lost, they would be fired. This match was fucking horrible. This match was awful and awkward, and it went way too long, and god damn it, Randy Orton just couldn't go. He could not close out 2017 without giving us one more shitbag pay-per-view match. That guy has been involved in so many shitty pay-per-view matches this year. It is astounding. The WrestleMania match with Bray, the House of Horrors match with Bray, the 3 matches with Jinder, specifically the Punjabi prison match. That was a really bad one. He was in the Raw versus SmackDown match at Survivor Series, and now we got this gem right here. You have a match with Nakamura, Zayn, and Owens, and it's one of the worst matches I've seen in the last few months, at least. That was a train wreck of a match, and it wasn't like they were botching all over the place or anything. It's just the dual referee aspect made the match so awkward that it just felt awkward. There was no flow to the match because the referees mattered more than anything the wrestlers were doing. And sure enough, they played into the finish. They played it like Shane was going to screw Zayn and Owens by not counting the pinfall, and Daniel got pissed and counted a fast count for Owens and Zayn just to secure them their job and keep them from getting screwed. I support Daniel Bryan. I'm like, no, Shane was going to screw him. And I'm like, that's not fair. It's like, what, they should get fired because Shane McMahon is a beef? Like, fuck him. That's terrible. But in any case, I thought this match was absolutely terrible. It had a table spot in it, which I thought was funny. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, let's put somebody through a table to make people forget how shitty this match is. But it was not good. It was not good. It was huge, like, black void on the pay-per-view. And typically it's the John Cena matches that make me feel this way. But no, this one was... Of course, Randy Orton was in it, so maybe he just rubbed off on everybody else. I don't know. But really, I'm not blaming the wrestlers here. I think it's just the referee dynamic prevented the match from getting into any kind of flow. And that's why it turned out the way it did. So, Owens and Zayn won. I didn't care. And, I mean, not that I want them to get fired or anything, but it's just like, I don't care about the storyline at all whatsoever. So, moving on from that unpleasantness, we got the main event, AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal for the WWE title. This match was boring. I will give it credit. The injuries, Jinder Mahal worked over AJ's ribs the entire match, and it actually did play into the finish where AJ didn't use the Styles Clash or the 450 Splash to beat him, or he didn't use the Phenomenal Forearm. He ended up using the Calf Killer to ultimately get the submission win. I like that. It's like he used the move that puts the less strain on his midsection and his core. I was like, okay, I'll go with that. I like that the injury actually played into the finish for once. And even AJ had been working over Mahal's leg, so it made sense to finish him off with the calf crusher too. But the match itself was so boring because nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, is interested or invested in Jinder Mahal, and I hope to God this is the last pay-per-view main event he gets, because he has been nothing but terrible ever since he got the belt. It's just been... I mean, my God, you cannot say I didn't give this guy a chance. I have watched 4 pay-per-view main events with this guy. the 3 matches with Orton, and he's working with AJ fucking Styles here, who has worked great with guys like Dean Ambrose. He had Roman Reigns' best matches with him. He worked great with John Cena. He worked great with Shane McMahon, for Christ's sake, at WrestleMania in a match that wasn't built around Shane McMahon jumping off of 30-foot structures. AJ is a remarkable, once-in-a-generation talent, and he can't get, a solid pay-per-view main event out of Jinder because if the fans just don't give a shit, they're not going to care, and they were just so uninvested throughout the entire match. Thank God AJ won. Hopefully this means he'll be the champion heading into WrestleMania. I know we're getting Reigns versus Brock for the Universal title. I know it. I accept it. I don't like it, but I know it and I accept it. Can we get AJ in the WWE title picture at WrestleMania? That's all I ask. I think AJ deserves it. I think he's done exceedingly well in the WWE, way better than I think a lot of people thought he would. Not through lack of talent on his part, but through WWE's tendency to not utilize guys that they didn't create properly. But AJ has managed to break through that and become one of the best guys in the company. And very satisfying for me because I've been singing AJ's praises for over a decade and a half. So I hope he goes into WrestleMania as the champion. So fingers crossed, here's hoping. But Clash of Champions, like I said, I thought the first 2 matches were really good, and then the show just kind of fell apart after that. With just one boring match after another. But at least they didn't fuck us over and give the belt back to Jinder. So they at least booked the main event the way it was supposed to be booked. With the right result. So I will give them points for that. But overall, Clash of Champions, not a very good show. Again, it started strong and then just kind of tapered off. And fell into a black hole. But in any case, let's talk about Ring of Honor Final Battle 2017. Ring of Honor's final big show of 2017. Now, when I previewed this show, I was not very enthusiastic. I looked at the card and I was like, it's not terrible, but it's not... I'm a little surprised that this is Ring of Honor's, WrestleMania-style show. I mean, this is the show that all the feuds come to a head, all the stories come to a head, and it's their big kind of end-of-the-year big card. And I looked at that main event in particular, and I was like, really? That's what you're closing with? Okay. But I watched the show, and overall I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good show. The production of the show was great. They gave guys, the stage looked good, and it had, a Tron, and the entrances for a lot of the guys looked good. Punishment Martinez had a really cool, creepy entrance. Cody had an amazing entrance where he just looked like a megastar. He's got blonde hair now. He dyed his hair. I know he's going for a Dusty Rhodes thing or Rhodes family thing, but to me he kind of looked like Roy Batty from Blade Runner. So I just kind of want Cody to go like tears in the rain. That'd be nice. I'm the only person that would enjoy that. But Cody had a really good entrance. Trying to think, what were some of the other ones? Just a really cool production from Ring of Honor, a company where you don't expect that. You pretty much expect Ring of Honor to be bare bones, basic, high quality wrestling, but on the production side of things, you don't expect. You expect the bare essentials on the production side. You don't expect it to look really good, and this show actually looked pretty damn good. So I was like, yeah, okay, I like it. And most of the matches I felt delivered. So I guess we'll just start off with the opener. Matt Taven versus Will Ospreay. Very good match. Really good opener. Very hot. The Kingdom interfered for Taven. Helped him get what I felt was kind of a surprise victory over Will Ospreay. A big win for Taven. It's like, oh, maybe they're going to do something with him. And the whole Kingdom conspiracy thing that is maybe it's actually going to go somewhere. And he even said it's like, this will be the last final battle where I don't walk out with a championship belt. I'm like, ooh, let's see how 2018 goes, because that's very interesting. But I thought the match was nice, action-packed. Will Ospreay is, again, just an amazing athlete and just brings a different flavor to everything he does. And I thought he worked very well with Taven, somebody who I've always liked. I've been waiting for him to kind of have that, I don't want to say a breakout performance, but I've been waiting for him to evolve and have like that really good step forward to ultimately getting pushed. And this might have been it. So we'll see. They gave him a big win. The match was good. So here's hoping for bigger and better things for Matt Taven moving forward. And second match on the show, we had The Addiction, Christopher Daniels and Kazarian taking on War Machine. I like this match. They did some of the free-for-all, non-tagging, bad tag team psychology that I typically don't like. But they kept it to somewhat of a minimum. And I thought all four guys worked so well with each other. And you had The Addiction kind of playing these sneaky, dastardly heels with the referee kept catching Christopher Daniels putting his foot on the ropes or holding the tights or something like that. And I like those little touches that they put into the match. And War Machine, I'm a big fan of those guys. I think they are a really good team. And whenever they start flying around, it's super impressive because they shouldn't be able to. But they're also great brawlers too. So they're one of the more enjoyable tag teams out there, I think. And I like watching them. I think they're, especially in a company like Ring of Honor where you expect like the pure athletic types and I mean, you know the type that's the prototypical Ring of Honor wrestler, and so when you see guys like War Machine out there, it's like, ooh, this is a different flavor. This is something a little different from the norm. So, yeah, I thought this was a really good tag match, and I really enjoyed it. War Machine ended up getting the win and got their revenge on The Addiction. And next up after that was my pick for match of the night, the villain, Marty Scurll, who seems to just be getting better and better, taking on the franchise of Ring of Honor, Jay Lethal, in a match where Marty Scurll was allowed to pick his opponent for Final Battle. He chose Jay Lethal, and they had like a nice build-up here where the villain wanted Jay Lethal to be dirty just like he used to be, and be dirty like me, and do all the dastardly villain tactics that you used to do. Which led to a great line from Jay Lethal. It's like, back in the day, I did those things because I wanted to. You do them because you have to. It's like, ooh, snap. But anyway, I thought this match was very, very good. And again, it kind of had that story where Jay Lethal ended up having to kind of play Marty's game a little bit and cheat a little bit and be a little bit more villainous. He ended up winning off of a low blow, actually. But Marty started it, so it's kind of like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander in my book. And the spot of the match, and I thought it was great, Marty Scurll looked like he was going to do the Eddie Guerrero spot where he smacked the chair on the ground while the referee was turned around and then threw the chair at Lethal, led to Lethal catching it, and then Marty would lie down like Jay Lethal hit him with the chair and try and like get him disqualified or at least get him in trouble with the referee. Lethal, being a genius, took the chair in his hand, kind of wrapped it around his head, kind of like pushed it so it like the chair was kind of like around his head, and then lied down on the mat with the chair wrapped around him and acted like he'd been hit with the chair. And I'm like, oh my god, that is brilliant. That was such a cool spot, and I really enjoyed that. That was a nice little, it was funny, it was creative, and it kind of fit within the story that the match was telling. So a very enjoyable little spot there, and really good match. I thought it was a very good match between these two, and as expected, Jay Lethal ended up getting the win. Easily my favorite match on the show. And I believe after that was the Ring of Honor tag title match, the Motor City Machine Guns taking on the best friends Chucky T and Beretta, who had a hilarious pre-match promo where they kept botching the promo over and over again. It was just this long string of outtakes. I'm like, that's actually pretty funny that they kept blowing their lines and the whole promo was just them, was basically just all the outtakes of their botched promo. And I'm like, that's actually pretty funny. I kind of like that. But I thought the match was okay. You got some antics out of the best friends from it, but it was just kind of okay. It wasn't anything particularly great. Motor City Machine Guns retained the titles. That's pretty much all there is to say. You got some funny bits out of it, but that's about it. Then I believe next was the TV title 4-way. It was Kenny King defending the belt against Punishment Martinez, Shane Taylor, and my boy Silas Young, who I am really high on. I like it. Here's why I like Silas Young. He's a guy who works his matches in a way where his number one goal is to get heat and to be a heel. And I don't see enough of that. And I'm like, I love him. He's a guy that is out there to get booed. And he's not worried about having highlights. He's not worried about having the best match on the show. he is worried about getting heel heat and playing the heel, and I like that about him. I like that a lot, and I think that's an underrated trait in pro wrestling, and I think a lot more wrestlers would benefit from having that mindset. Instead of worrying about making everything fancy, just worrying about getting the reaction that you're supposed to get. And in Silas's case, he said, I'm a heel, and I'm just going to heel it up like a motherfucker, and I respect him for that greatly. I thought the match maybe went a little too long. It was an elimination match, but I thought it was okay. I did like the Kenny King, who, to be fair, like, I was never a huge fan of Kenny King. I think this year he's had, like, one of his best years. Maybe his best year ever. I think he's done fairly well in the TV title holder for Ring of Honor this year. But I thought the match was kind of okay. I like that he was eliminated before the final two, so it came down to Punishment Martinez and Silas Young, who were my two picks to win. I'm like, all right, I'm fine either way. Like, whoever wins this, I'm good. Silas Young ended up getting the win, and it's like, yeah, go Silas. I like it. I like it a lot. Good for him. He deserved to be rewarded with the belt. So, the match itself was okay, but I was happy with the result, so we'll say that. I'll give that match a thumbs up just based on that. And I believe the next match after that was the New York City Street Fight, Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer versus the Briscoe Brothers. I like the build-up for this. I thought the bit with Bully Ray getting hurt on the table hit back when Jay Briscoe turned on him, and them working it like it was going to be Bully Ray's retirement, I thought was very effective and very well done. This match, when you hear Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer in a hardcore match, it turned out pretty much exactly what you pictured it to be. It's like, all right, they did the cheese grater spot, they did all the hardcore garbage spots that you would expect. They brought lightsabers into it, which was kind of funny. It kind of had like a nice little funny thing. And the crowd was totally into it too, which also helped. They were in the Hammerstein Ballroom, so that added like a very energized atmosphere to it. It was entertaining for what it was. I did enjoy it. It would have been nice if the Briscoes had been able to hit that 3D through the table at the end, because to get the win, I think that would have been a little bit more effective, but they didn't quite hit it right, so it's like, all right, we'll just hit a froggy bow through the table to get the win, and they covered up about as well as they could, so I won't, hold that against them, but overall the match was, again, it was pretty much what you expected to be, but I liked the result, and I liked, it was a generally entertaining match all around, so I have nothing truly bad to say about it. So, entertaining match, right team went over, and it was fun. So, that was really best case scenario in a lot of ways. So, then we got the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team championship match. The Hung Bucks, Adam Page and the Young Bucks, taking on Flip Gordon, Dragon Lee, and Titan. This was pretty much just a high-flying spot fest match, but you did get some really neat kind of spots in there. I really like the spot, and again, I've said before that the Bucks have basically rendered super kicks meaningless, and that's a strike against them. They did a bit in this match where they kept trying to hit Flip Gordon with a super kick, and they kept missing him, and Gordon would like fall on his back and then do a kip up, fall on his back and then do a kip up, and just keep dodging all the super kicks. I thought that was really cool. That was like, okay, that I like. It was creative, it was unique, it put over Flip Gordon's athleticism, it got the super kick spot in without even really overusing super kicks, and added a little bit more flavor to a match that could have just been a straight up spot festy type of match, which it kind of was, but again, little things like that make it a little bit more memorable. And right decision, I think, was for the Hung Bucks to go over. They did. And overall, it was an entertaining match for what it was. And again, it was very spot festy, but it was an entertaining match. And then we got the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Dalton Castle. They used a lot of bells and whistles, like Cody got color at one point, and like I said, the entrances were good. Cody's entrance I thought was very good, and he just looked like a star. They did some antics with Brandy Rhodes and the boys that were kind of funny, and they did a bit with Cody, like getting into it with the referee and getting shoved down, so they did a lot of bells and whistles. I wasn't a huge fan of this match, though. I felt like it was lacking in drama because I don't think anybody honestly expected Dalton Castle to win. We were just kind of like waiting for Cody to get the win. But then Dalton Castle won, and it's like, wait, what? And it's such a weird decision. And look, I'm not shitting on Dalton Castle. I like Dalton Castle. I don't think he's been groomed properly to be the world champion of your promotion. And I'm not sure if he's entirely capable. This is the second time I've seen him in a Ring of Honor world title match. And this is the second time it's kind of fallen flat. And I'm like, look, I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing what he was doing before. But this was kind of a weak sauce main event, unfortunately. I think I do have a theory on why they made this decision. Cody Rhodes is still going to be facing Kota Ibushi at the Tokyo Dome for Wrestle Kingdom. Only now the Ring of Honor title won't be on the line because Cody Rhodes is no longer the Ring of Honor champion. I think that Kota Ibushi is going to go over at the Tokyo Dome, but they didn't want him to win the Ring of Honor title, so they got the belt off of Cody first, and now Kota Ibushi will probably go over at the Tokyo Dome and not have to have, like, Kota Ibushi walking around as the Ring of Honor champion, although I'm not sure if that would be a bad thing. If they could work out, like, the logistics of it and do, like, the working agreement to get Kota Ibushi a couple of big matches in Ring of Honor, that might actually be more beneficial to do that, but in any case, I did enjoy Final Battle. I think it was a consistently entertaining show all the way throughout. The only real, like, kind of downer for me was the main event, and that's unfortunate. Part of it is because I just love Cody as world champion, and just to watch him, like, kind of have this weak sauce match and then take the title off him for a guy I don't have a whole lot of faith in as a main eventer was like, really? Okay, wouldn't have been my first call, but whatever. We'll see where it goes. But in any case, those are my feelings on Final Battle 2017. Now, before I sign off for tonight, I want to give a few updates on how I'm going to be doing reviews on these channels. Very minor update, but it's one that's worth pointing out anyway. You may notice in this video that there will be grades for both shows down in the description box. That's something that I'm going to start doing for all my reviews, including movie reviews and my Star Wars book reviews. I've actually already added them to all my previous Star Wars book reviews. It'll be a standard A to F system. A will be must-see or must-read in the case of books. B will be strong recommendation. C will be mild recommendation. D will be skip it. And F will be, in the case of books, it will be burn it. In the case of a show or a movie, it would be like, I don't know, fuck off or something. I don't know. But those are... the reason I'm going to start doing that is because I feel like I have a tendency to ramble in my reviews. And sometimes you may not get the full gist of what I really felt about something. So I think having an overall grade will give you an idea of what I really thought of this show. And even if I ramble on for like an hour or 45 minutes, you'll have that grade there to let it be known what I thought, in case you don't have time to watch the whole thing. You know pretty much how I felt about it just by looking at the letter grade. I'm still not going to do star ratings for matches because as I've said before, I don't really believe in them because I feel it's more appropriate to grade a show based on the overall final product and not just breaking it down to its components and grading each one individually on the same scale. Because I've seen shows with matches that's full of matches that didn't even go 10 minutes long, and it was still like an amazing pay-per-view. Case in point, ECW One Night Stand. Case in point, the first WrestleMania. I could go back today and watch the first WrestleMania and still enjoy it. I think it's a very entertaining, colorful, fun, entertaining show. It has no matches on there that I would call like a match of the year candidate or anything like that. It didn't need to. It did exactly what it needed to do to be an entertaining show. Survivor Series 1998, the Deadly Games tournament, there's not one match on there that I would consider a match of the year candidate, but the booking of that show is so great, the overall whole is fantastic. So, you might have like... Meltzer might have given every match on that show like 1 star, 2 star, maybe 2.5, maybe 3 for the main event, but it didn't change the fact that the overall impression from the show was very, very good because everything was booked so well. So, to me, star ratings kind of get rid of like that overall impression, to me, which is most important because, you could have a show that, as I've said before, you can have a show without any matches that break 10 minutes and it could still be really good if you do it right. based on all the examples I just provided. But yeah, I'm going to be adding those grades to my reviews. You'll notice them down below in the description box. But that is all I have for you in this video. I have a few more videos lined up for you before I sign off for 2017. So stay tuned for the rest of the week because I'm going to have some goodies for you.